Julie, it's Ross Tucker filling in for Dan today here on the Dan Patrick Show. I don't know how much you caught of what we were just talking about, but does it bother you? Does it bother the girls on the team? You think that Hope Solo on some level is by far the most well-known member of the team?
Well, I think probably the bigger issue is that it takes away the storylines from the positive stuff. And that's really probably the biggest issue is instead of, and it feels like at every World Cup or Olympics, it's the case of instead of talking about, and Alex Morgan, to your point, that maybe your mom might know her more, or Carly Lloyd's goals or whatever it is, we're on an issue that is more negative and is centered around Hope Solo. So I think that gets probably frustrating. I know it certainly gets frustrating for me, having, as a job, having to talk about it.
Is she that good, Julie? I mean, is she, in the NFL or whatever, they tolerate guys based on their talent level. Is she that good that she's worth this?
She's very good. And, this is actually the first tournament where if you rewind to last summer in the 2015 Women's World Cup, which the U.S., of course, won, she has a blinder of a game, a great game in their opening match against Australia and the opening few games when the U.S. is really struggling. And Hope and the defensive back line, I mean, just not Hope, but her back line keeps the U.S. in that World Cup. So then when they finally get their offense together, they end up getting it all together and winning the World Cup. But that's been the biggest difference. And it's been the biggest question mark, I think, for the coaching staff for U.S. Soccer is how much do you put up with and how much of a distraction is it and how much is she worth it on the field? And I think that, honestly, is going to be the bigger question going forward is, as a player, as a leader, now that she's obviously taken over more of a leadership role with this equal rights, equal pay stuff, is that worth it, or is it time to turn the page?
Do you think there's any truth to her comments, Julie, about the way Sweden played, specifically at the end, seemingly, playing for penalty kicks?
No, not at all. I mean, that's why there's been such a reaction. To call what Sweden did cowardly is silly, really, because it's a tactic that teams take all the time in soccer. It's not a new thing. It's it's very common when you're outmatched. You play a more conservative style. You play compact. You bunker in a bit, and then you spring out of it with counterattacks. I mean, look at Jose Mourinho, one of the most famous coaches and successful coaches ever. That's what he played all the time, and it's very common. So, and it's not easy. You have to be disciplined. You have to work really hard, and it's frustrating to play against, which is where her frustration comes from. It's frustrating to lose when a team sits in like that and you have the ball the entire game. But it certainly is not cowardly. It's smart. It's a game plan that worked, and they ended up winning.
How big of an upset is this, Julie?
Huge. I mean, U.S. should beat Sweden. They should beat them 9 out of 10 times, in my opinion. And the coach of Sweden, Pia Sundhage, is the old coach of the United States team who actually won the last 2 Olympic gold medals with the U.S. team. So she clearly knows this U.S. team and has their number because they just haven't been able to get by her. But collectively, I think Sweden is an organized team, but they have none of the talent that the U.S. has. And we, as a team, we just didn't have the players in there that could break down that organized defense. Didn't have the legs for whatever reason. There were some injuries, obviously, coming into this World Cup with Megan Rapinoe, and Carly Lloyd was out for 3 months. But that's a team that the U.S. should beat, and that's why this one's going to burn.
Finishing up with Julie Foudy, she's a soccer analyst for ESPN. During one of the breaks, Julie, Seton, one of the Danettes, brought up the fact that, after Hope Solo made those comments, nobody was talking about the coach anymore. Nobody was talking about Kristen Pressey, who missed the kick. Kristen Press, I'm sorry, who missed the kick. I'm not saying that what Hope Solo did was calculated. I doubt it. But was there some benefit from her saying what she said to take some heat off of her teammates and coaches?
No, I don't think so. I don't think calling another team cowards is beneficial in any way. And especially, our long-standing tradition with the team and going back to us old bags on the team for many years has been, you lose with respect. And as painful as it may be, our message to young kids is, look, we lose with respect and we shake their hands and we're good sports and you do it with grace and class. And so I don't think that's a benefit. I think it's healthy to be talking about, what needs to get better with the women's team and with all the players and funding and support we have in this country. We should be winning every single world title or Olympic medal. So that makes me sad that we're not taking a deeper dive and discussing that.
Yeah, and I bet you and the girls you played with probably get so frustrated sometimes knowing the way it used to be, back in the 80s and 90s and the way it is now for them where they can, make pretty good careers out of it and be pretty well known. That must drive you crazy.
No, it doesn't. I think it's great to be able to make. I mean, that's what we fought for them to be able to make what they're making and have a great livelihood and continue to progress the game and grow it so that the next generation has more opportunities. So actually, we love to see them, being successful and winning games and and making, as much as they deserve. So, and that's what hurts too, is like you get knocked out of the quarterfinal. The U.S. team has never lost before the semis. We've always been on the podium. So that one is a killer as well.
Yeah, I guess I meant maybe not appreciating what they have as much, given what you guys did. Julie, really appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.